You guys heard of a site called Reddit? Reddit? Yeah, some people use this site. We like to make fun of them. I've always found it kind of funny that people make fun of Redditors because I think that Reddit has actually probably the least consistent site character across the breadth of its user base of any of the social media sites. Reddit is the most like how the internet used to be, where it's highly decentralized, where the personal spaces are extremely customizable because they're literally like owned and managed by separate people, you know, as opposed to say like Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, where you just have like a guy on top and a bunch of corporate policy dictating stuff. Some subreddits are pretty nice. I like 196. I like some. You know, some people say there are these two subreddits called Vaush and OK Buddy Vaush that may or may not be fine. I've heard rumors. I don't really know. You know, whatever. Did you know that people are mad at Reddit right now? In fact, what I have open right now is a Twitch stream that is live tracking the subreddits that have gone private. Subreddits that are pledging to go dark in protest of a decision. Now, a lot of these subreddits are pretty big. You can see the number of subscribers to some of them. There's Our Photography with 5 million, you know, huge number. This isn't live, by the way. I went back about 24 hours to see this when it was going a little faster earlier on. Lots of subs, an enormous amount. There's Markiplier r/rap, where everyone goes to get the latest rap info. There's Anime MILFs _AI, Pizza Crimes, Dance Moms, and SSX, which I misread as sex at first. I think SSX is actually like a sports game. University of Houston. And somewhere in this big live stream, you would see my subreddits going dark as well. Why are people doing this? Well, here's the thing. Who here knows what an API is? Raise your hand if you know. I want to see hypers. Folks, I want to see hypers. There we go. That's what I like to see. So, I'm not exactly a tech expert, but I'll summarize it as best as I can, okay? Websites, basically all websites, have something called an API. It's basically an interface that allows people to gather data from the website. So oftentimes this stuff is really simple. Like say, for example, you want to make a bot, and the goal of the bot is to track how many people have replied to your tweets within a given day. That means you have to pull information from the website. The bot, you know, automatically pulls it, however you code it, and it uses that to comprise a database. You can do API stuff with varying levels of complexity, but the important part is that it's necessary to do any kind of third-party application work for a website. So if you want to make like a Google add-on or anything meant to supplement the experience of a website, you need some kind of API data, because otherwise you don't have a way of interacting with the site. You don't have a way of engaging with the data. Without API access, a website is basically incapable of being worked with on any level besides the default user experience, with anything besides what you as a regular user are allowed to do. API is important, and it's especially important. Okay, a lot of tech nerds in the chat who know more than me. Congratulations. Wow, you know more about tech than a sociology baccalaureate, okay? Well, congratulations. Listen, okay, this is the basic stuff, all right? If you've used Twitter or Instagram or for some reason Facebook or TikTok or whatever else, you've probably noticed these websites are heavily driven towards an phone app user base. Not entirely, but heavily. And they function pretty well on their own. They're a pretty complete package. Now, people mess stuff up. They change stuff. People edit. They have third-party programs, Google add-ons, whatever. All the time they do, sure. But these sites are largely an inbuilt package. They function well on their own. You're never going to guess what Reddit isn't. Functioning on its own. Reddit sucks on its own. Reddit, which is, again, a highly federated social media website designed to allow customizability between all of the communities, which is moderated almost entirely by its user base, not by a team of administrators working at the corporation. Reddit can't be used that well without third-party tools and software. I can say personally, as a mod for my own subreddits, that moderating Reddit without third-party mod software is agonizing. Seriously, it's really, really, really bad, you know? The Reddit is just really clunky. Reddit kind of works on mobile, but not that well. It seems like most people use it on desktop, at least more so proportionally than other websites. And keep in mind, all of this is meant to be a kind of emulation of how websites worked back before there were social media mega monopolies, right? Like Reddit is supposed to be a customizable space. You need API access. So you're not going to guess what the Reddit administration decided to do. That's right, they're charging you for API use. On a social media site that is supported by untold millions in unpaid moderator work. I mean, keep in mind, right? Like, ads are run on Reddit, meaning that the corporation benefits from people using Reddit. It's not all like a charity, you know? They're making money off of the effort of their user base. And in this case, the effort involves an incredible amount of moderation and customizing work. Reddit, of all websites, is the last one that should be charging for API use because the website does not function without API use. It does not work. But they're going to be charging for API use. And that's why people are protesting. Now, I know this sounds kind of like meaningless and esoteric to a lot of you, and I understand that. It's Reddit. People are having a little Reddit protest because people are upset about corporations making money, but you have to understand, okay? This is about a broader tendency online. More and more and more and more and more, social media websites make money selling data and ad space to profit off of labor that is done by the people who are on the site itself, right? Why do people go to Twitter? It's not for Twitter, the company. It's not for Twitter, the company's services. It's for the people on Twitter, right? Why do people go on Facebook? Why do people go on Instagram? Why do people go on Reddit? The point of social media, the thing that drives engagement there, isn't the efforts of the people on top. It's from the people who are using the service, which is why they primarily make money off ad sales and, data selling. You are the product, right? So in this case, Reddit is charging for the development of the site that allows it to be usable and that has led to its community to develop. This is very much a case of like Reddit doesn't understand why people go to Reddit. Reddit doesn't seem to understand that their site cannot function without free and easy access to the API services. Now, people in chat, annoyingly, are trying to skip ahead to the next thing that I'm going to say, preempting me, when talking about the actual price of the API that they are trying to charge. Which, let me see, hold on. Because it is pretty insane. Actually, I'm going to specifically call out the one person who annoyed me. Anonymous75. Vaush, you're kind of misrepresenting the situation. Charging for the API in and of itself is not a bad thing. The problem is that the cost is exorbitant. First of all, f you. I don't think they should be charging for the API. Second of all, I'll get to it. All right? Now let's get to it. This is from the beginning of the month. Reddit will charge hefty fees to the many third-party apps that access its data. The company will charge $12,000 for 50 million API requests, a high price relative to many of its peers. API charges have been of growing concern for developers and companies as large language models trawl the web for content. $12,000 for every 50 million requests is insane. Now, to justify the proposed charges, they are going to use like megacorps as an example. So here, according to the creator of a popular third-party app called Apollo. The developer said the number was deeply disappointing. Apollo made 7 billion requests last month, which would put it at about $1.7 million per month, or $20 million US per year, the developer said in a Reddit post about the change. So, a third-party app to assist in the use of Reddit would have to pay $20 million US per year in order to continue its use. Now, obviously, at rates like that, no third-party app could actually function at Reddit, which is a reaffirmation of how little Reddit seems to understand what they're actually doing here. I don't think any cost is justifiable because the use of API for third-party programs is literally the glue that binds Reddit together. Reddit CEO bummed OpenAI, scrapped all of Reddit to train ChatGPT. They fantasize about all the investors' money getting funneled to AI-hyped companies. Yeah, that is the kind of thing that tech media, or social media tech corporations would get excited about. API costs have gained greater attention since Elon Musk assumed ownership of Twitter and since used AI-powered tools to make their way into products used by millions of people. Modern AI programs use large language models, which train themselves on mountains of web-based content, including from user-generated posts on sites such as Twitter and Reddit. Users and developers were outraged when Twitter said it would charge $42,000 for 50 million requests. Apollo's developer said despite Reddit's promise to avoid that kind of extreme pricing, the company price is still $12,000. Apollo said it paid about $166 for the same number of API requests from the online image sharing service Imager. While many companies charge for API use, Reddit has historically derived the bulk of its income from advertising. But relative to its peers such as Facebook, Snap, and Pinterest, Reddit has struggled to monetize its active user base. With the digital ad market facing a slowdown and Reddit now 18 months removed from the notification of its confidential IPO filing, the company may be facing pressure to bolster its revenue. Tremendous stuff. Just so you know, Reddit literally went public right after they made this decision. Really? They're looking to sell then, are they? These f***ing idiots have no idea what they're doing. I would be astonished if this works. No shot. No shot. Honestly, the problem is that social media companies just have trouble making money, right? Ad buy rates are down, and that was never really a sustainable venture to begin with. If everyone remembers like the YouTube adpocalypses, early estimations of how effective internet ads were are just not, they're not panning out. So how do you make money off these vital, essential services that everyone has come around to using? Well, back in the good old days when the internet was highly federated, decentralized, and, people could just find communities of like-minded people by, like, Googling about it. Back when Google worked, by the way, which it doesn't anymore. And you would go to a forum with, like, 200 or 300 people or, like, an AIM chat room or whatever. Back in the good old days when everything was actually worse and I'm just, like, hyper-focusing on a few elements where they were better, these costs weren't as much of an issue. But we're seeing more and more that, like, the model for running these social media companies, in spite of how many people use them, is just not generating revenue. So now Reddit looks like they're trying to just bolster public interest a little bit before making public, so maybe somebody will buy it, which I don't think they will. I would be incredibly surprised if they did. That's how tech CEOs are, Anonymous75. I don't know. Nationalize the internet? Well, that's what a lot of people have said before, and I'm actually completely inclined to agree. I think that this is the strongest argument that you can make for the nationalization of social media, because we're talking about incredibly vital services that are irreplaceable. You know, like Twitter is irreplaceable. It has a very specific social, cultural, economic, political worth that cannot be supplemented with other stuff. If it fell, then another thing like it would rise in its place. It fills a niche. And it's vital. People need it. People use it. And then at the same time, like, it doesn't generate money, which means corporations aren't incentivized to control it and run it without, shenanigans. The intro to this piece is super on point. Makes sense. Wired has better articles than most, I think. The enshittification of TikTok. That didn't take long. Here's how platforms die. First, they're good to their users. Then they abuse their users to make things better for their business customers. Finally, they abuse those business customers to claw back all the value for themselves. Then they die. I call this enshittification, and it's a seemingly inevitable consequence arising from the combination of the ease of changing how a platform allocates value combined with the nature of a two-sided market. Do you think we're ever going to come around and realize that, like, the Something Awful forums had the right idea? That, like, the only way to really maintain a social media presence in the long term is just charge people to use it and be done with it? I don't know. When a platform starts, it needs users, so it makes itself valuable to users. Think of Amazon. For many years, it operated at a loss, using its access to the capital markets to subsidize everything you bought. It sold goods below cost and shipped them below cost. It operated a clean and useful search. If you search for a product, Amazon tried its damnedest to put it at the top of the search results. This was a hell of a good deal for Amazon's customers. Lots of us piled in, and lots of brick-and-mortar retailers withered and died, making it hard to go elsewhere. Amazon sold us ebooks and audiobooks that were permanently locked to its platform with DRM, so that every dollar we spent on media was a dollar we'd have to give up if we deleted Amazon and its apps. And Amazon sold us Prime, getting us to prepay for a year's worth of shipping. Prime customers started their shopping on Amazon, and 90% of the time they don't search anywhere else. That tempted in lots of business customers, marketplace sellers who turned Amazon into the everything store it had promised from the beginning. As these sellers piled in, Amazon shifted to subsidizing suppliers. Kindle and Audible creators got generous packages. Marketplace sellers reached huge audiences, and Amazon took low commissions from them. This strategy meant it became progressively harder for shoppers to find things anywhere except Amazon, which meant that they only searched on Amazon, which meant that sellers had to sell on Amazon. That's when Amazon started to harvest the surplus from its business customers and send it to Amazon shareholders. Today, marketplace sellers are handing more than 45% of the sales price to Amazon in junk fees. The company's $31 billion advertising program is really a payola scheme that pits sellers against each other, forcing them to bid on the chance to be at the top of your search. Oh yeah, I've never talked about this on stream really, but like an often underexplored terror of the Amazon marketplace is the fact that as bad as it can be for the world at large, it may be worse for the sellers. Because if you're trying to sell a product of any kind on Amazon, you are constantly having to fight in the Thunderdome to prove the worth of your product and like the need for Amazon to continue hosting your shit. And if they ever don't, if you get dropped from that or delisted or de-advertised, you're fucking donezo, man. It's over. Searching Amazon doesn't produce a list of the products that most closely match your search. It brings up a list of products whose sellers have paid the most to be at the top of that search. Those fees are built into the cost you pay for the product, and Amazon's most favored nation requirement for sellers means they can't sell more cheaply elsewhere, so Amazon has driven prices at every retailer. Search Amazon for cat beds, and the entire first screen is ads, including ads for products Amazon cloned from its own sellers, putting them out of business. Yeah, for the stuff that Amazon really liked, they created Amazon Basics, using their incredible wealth and power to have factories produce their own versions of these products, putting all other retailers out of business in that field. Anytime you see something Amazon Basics, the reason it's so cheap is because they have literally like undercut their own merchants. In essence, if you sell stuff on the Amazon marketplace, you are doing free, or not even free, you are paying to do market testing for Amazon so that Amazon can look and see that if you do well, that's the go-ahead for them to go ahead and steal your thunder. All told, the first 5 screens of results for Catbed are 50% ads. This is enshittification. Surpluses are first directed to users, then once they're locked in, surpluses go to suppliers, then once they're locked in, the surplus is handed to shareholders, and the platform becomes a useless pile of shit. From mobile app stores to Steam, from Facebook to Twitter, this is the enshittification lifestyle. It's very fun to say. This is why, as Kat Valent wrote in her magisterial pre-Christmas essay, platforms like Prodigy transform themselves overnight from a place where you went for social connection to a place where you were expected to stop talking to each other and start buying things. This shell game with surpluses is what happened to Facebook. First, Facebook was good to you. It showed you the kind of things you loved and cared about had to say. This created a kind of mutual hostage-taking. Once a critical mass of people you cared about were on Facebook, it became effectively impossible to leave, because you'd have to convince all of them to leave too and agree on where to go. You may love your friends, but half the time you can't agree on what movies to see and where to go for dinner. Forget that. Then it started to cram your feed full of posts from accounts you didn't follow. Hey, anyone remember this from, like, Twitter? At first, it was media companies who Facebook preferentially crammed down its users' throats so they would click on articles and send traffic to newspapers, magazines, and blogs. Then, once those publications were dependent on Facebook for their traffic, it dialed down their traffic. First, it choked off traffic to publications that used Facebook to run excerpts with links to their own sites as a way of driving publications into supplying full-text feeds inside Facebook's walled garden. This made publications truly dependent on Facebook. Their readers no longer visited the publications' websites. They just tuned them in on Facebook. The publications were hostage to those readers, who were hostage to each other. Facebook stopped showing readers the articles publications ran, tuning the algorithm to suppress posts from publications unless they paid to boost their articles to the readers, who had explicitly subscribed to them and asked Facebook to put them in their feeds. Now, Facebook started to cram more ads into the feed, mixing payola from people you wanted to hear from with payola whose strangers you wanted to commandeer your eyeballs. It gave those advertisers a great deal, charging a pittance to target their ads based on the dossiers of non-consensually harvested personal data they'd stolen from you. This sound familiar? Sellers became dependent on Facebook too, unable to carry on business without access to those targeted pitches. That was Facebook's cue to jack up ad prices, stop worrying so much about ad fraud, and to collude with Google to rig the ad market through an illegal program called Jedi Blue. I don't know anything about this. Today, Facebook is terminally and shitified, a terrible place to be, whether you're a user, a media company, or an advertiser. It's a company that deliberately demolished a huge fraction of the publishers it relied on, defrauding them into a pivot to video based on fake claims of the popularity of videos among Facebook users. Companies threw billions into the pivot, but the viewers never materialized, and media outlets folded in droves. But Facebook has a new pitch. It claims to be called Meta, and it has demanded we live out the rest of our days as legless, sexless, heavily surveilled, low-poly cartoon characters. It has promised companies that make apps for this metaverse that it won't rug them the way it did publishers in the old Facebook. It remains to be seen whether they'll get any takers. As Mark Zuckerberg once candidly confessed to a peer, marveling at all his fellow Harvard students who sent their personal info to his new website, the Facebook, I don't know why they trust me. I don't normally just read articles verbatim, but I don't have much to add to this. The article's pretty great. Once you understand the enshittification pattern, a lot of the platform mysteries solve themselves. Think of the SEO market or the whole energetic world of online creators who spend endless hours engaged in useless platform Kremlinology? Not related to the Kremlin, it seems. Thank you, again, DM. Hoping to locate the algorithmic tripwires, which, if crossed, doom the creative works they pour into money, time, and effort into. Working for the platform can be like working for a boss who takes money out of every paycheck for all the rules you broke, but won't tell you what those rules are because he told you that. Then you'd figure out how to break those rules without him noticing and docking your pay. Content moderation is the only domain where security through obscurity is considered a best practice. Okay, reading this, I genuinely do think that the only thing that can really solve this problem is to make changes to the algorithm illegal. And I mean that. Because the problem here is that by subtly changing the algorithm and the way these systems interact with each other and prioritize each other from behind the scenes, tech companies have essentially infinite power in shifting the focus of prestige and profit from place to place as a way of getting everyone hooked in a way that actually benefits nobody in the long run. Yeah, just open source it. Yeah, but even then they can still rug pull you. I don't think making it open source is enough, right? Like the reason why, like, markets are stable when the rules are stable, right? Like, the problem is that when one system or multiple systems are so obscure and so difficult to understand and so, like, abstract that you have people who are capable of subtly shifting, rug pulling on everyone in a way that eventually, like, fucks over the stability of the entire system to everyone's detriment. Yeah, the EU is doing some work here. Yes, that is true. This is one of the reasons why I do genuinely think that Reddit is one of the best social media companies. Like, it's okay. Like, you can make fun of Reddit, right? Reddit. But Reddit doesn't really have an algorithm, and that's great, you know? Seriously, it really does. Like, it has an algorithm for showing, like, top posts when you click on it, but you choose the subreddits that you follow, and then they're there, right? There's not any, like, trickery that gets done with YouTube or Facebook or Twitter where you'll, like, follow 100 subs, but then, like, the 50 subs that pay into Reddit will get priority. Like, that's not really a thing, you know? So that's good. Like how Tumblr doesn't really have an algorithm. Yeah, Tumblr is also a lot. Yeah, and that's nice. That's better. Y'all need to get over your paranoia about being tracked and manipulated by media algorithms. Why? Why should people not be paranoid about the most powerful people on Earth subtly changing the rules behind the scenes of their infinitely powerful companies in order to benefit them? Why wouldn't people be paranoid about that? They should be. People should be more paranoid, you fucking Fed. Jesus. Zuckerberg in chat. The situation is so dire that organizations like Tracking Exposed have enlisted a human army of volunteers and a robot army of headless browsers to try to unwind the logic behind the arbitrary machine judgments of the algorithm, both to give users the option to tune the recommendations they receive and to help creators avoid the wage theft that comes from being shadow banned. But what if there's no underlying logic? Or more to the point, what if the logic shifts based on the platform's priorities? What if you go down the midway at your county fair, you'll spot some poor sucker walking around all day with a giant teddy bear that they won by throwing 3 balls in a peach basket. The peach basket is a rigged game. The carny can use a hidden switch to force the balls to bounce out of the basket. Nobody wins a giant teddy bear unless the carny wants them to win it. Why'd the carny let the sucker win the giant teddy bear? So he'd carry it around all day, convincing other suckers to put down $5 for their chance to win one. Another thing that should be illegal. The carney allocated a giant teddy bear to that poor sucker the way that platforms allocate surpluses to key performers. As a convincer in a big store con, a way to rope in other suckers who will make content for the platform, anchoring themselves and the audiences to it. Which brings me to TikTok. TikTok is many different things, including a free Adobe Premiere for teenagers that live on their phones. True. But what made it such a success early on was the power of its recommendation systems. From the start, TikTok was really, really good at recommending things to its users. Eerily good. I also think that content recommendation algorithms should be illegal. And I mean illegal. Like you go to federal in the ass prison if you make them. I genuinely think that if you want to see any kind of content, you should have to search for it in-app, find it, and subscribe to it directly. By making good faith recommendations of things that thought its users would like, TikTok has built a mass audience larger than many thought possible given the death grip of its competitors like YouTube and Instagram. Now that TikTok has the audience, it is consolidating its gains and seeking to lure away the media companies and creators who are still stubbornly attached to YouTube and Insta. I'm staying here, fuckers. I know the whole TikTok thing is going to blow up. Literally, yeah, Demon Mama, it's demonic. It's truly demonic. Vaush needs to stop advertising on YouTube if he really believes. What? I don't run ads on this platform. And also, running ads isn't the same as a content recommendation algorithm. Oh, you're the person from before. Permid. Get out of here. Sorry. The content recommendation algorithm for this stream chat, all right, is we're recommending people away from it, okay? And we do that through a subtle system called permabans. Yesterday, Forbes' Emily Baker White broke a fantastic story about how that actually works inside of ByteDance, TikTok's parent company, citing multiple internal sources, revealing the existence of a heating tool that TikTok employees use to push videos from select accounts into millions of viewers' feeds. These videos go into TikTok users' For You feeds, which TikTok misleadingly describes as being populated by videos, quote, ranked by an algorithm that predicts your interest based on your behavior in the app, end quote. In reality, For You is only sometimes composed of videos that TikTok thinks will add value to your experience. The rest of the time, it's full of videos TikTok has inserted in order to make creators think TikTok is a great place to reach an audience. Sources told Forbes that TikTok has often used heating to court influencers and brands, enticing them into partnerships by inflating their videos' view counts. This suggests that heating has potentially benefited some influencers and brands, those with whom TikTok has sought business relationships at the expense of others with whom it has not. In other words, TikTok is handing out giant teddy bears. This is exactly what Nick Fuentes did with Cozy TV, where he had a button that he would use to inflate his own view count. Kick almost certainly does the same thing. Like, hey, streamers, come on over. Come on over to our new streaming site, you know? Look at all the views you can get here. There's a big, thriving audience. When they lie about the thing. Twitter does the same thing. The view count that tweets now show are misrepresentative. Like, view counts on Twitter don't mean anything. Literally, they don't mean anything. They're fake. They're made up. I made a private Twitter that immediately went private that had nobody following it, 0 follows, 0 following, made a tweet, left it, looked back at it later, it had 12 views. It doesn't matter. They're literally made up. The view counts are just made up. Yeah, the only place that I know of, Rumble also inflates its own view counts. Yeah, the only place that I know of is YouTube. YouTube, for as much as we complain about it, YouTube is relatively straightforward with the way its systems work and transparent and honest compared to a lot of other social media sites. And that's saying something. Vaush, no offense, but you unironically sound like a conservative who just wants to ban all degeneracy online right now. And permaban. What is wrong with you guys? We criticize TikTok and you're like, what's happening here? YouTube premium users generate more money for the people they watch than if you were a regular person with no ad block. A portion of the cost of your YouTube premium subscription is proportionally given over to the people that you watch based on viewing time. It's actually a pretty nice system. I think that YouTube Premium is fine. People make fun of it, but like, I use YouTube far more than I use Netflix or any other, like, you know, entertainment platform. And if it has like a kind of revenue sharing system like that, you know, I don't know. I think that's okay. Not perfect. Nothing's perfect. But I think it's okay. I can actually check my analytics here in the revenue section, and it splits where the Oh, that's interesting. It doesn't say how much of the money came from YouTube Premium anymore. It just says watch page ads. Oh, that's unfortunate. I kind of liked it used to be about 50-50. In spite of the fact that probably no more than 10%, maybe even less, of the people who watch me are have YouTube Premium. It was about a 50-50 split for the relative revenue from like ads or YouTube Premium. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, and you can get YouTube Premium revenue for limited revenue videos. Can you elaborate on the thought of making content targeting illegal? Oh, I think it's miserable for mental health, and I think that it's a bait for people trying to get in on things, you know? I think that, like, recommendations and subscriptions and all the kind of content that you want to consume should be your choice. Because if you're leaving it up to a system that a social media tech company controls to direct things towards you, you're basically like you're basically saying like, okay, you have a bunch of invisible like incentives that you can use to push whatever you want at me. You can make me watch anything you want. And that's what's happening. It used to not be as bad as it is now, but like again, 10 years ago YouTube had a content recommendation algorithm, but it wasn't that bad. Sure, there have been problems with the algorithm, like an over-reliance on recommending conservative content or like Jordan Peterson or whatever, but YouTube wasn't that malicious in promoting and targeting stuff. But like nowadays, it's so transparent with like TikTok and Instagram and stuff that it should be like Tumblr, it should be like Reddit, it should be like the old email subscription lists. If you're thinking, wow, I want to see videos of content creators who like doing DIY home renovation stuff, you should have to search that, find them, look at videos that have that stuff and go, oh, okay, that's pretty nice, and subscribe to that, you know? The only thing that I think might be kind of okay is if there was a recommendation algorithm that gave you a videos like this kind of thing, where if you watch one video that say, I don't know, like a speed run of a Mario game, and then it can give you like a couple videos that have a direct overlap in terms of viewership with that video. So it doesn't give you like some esoteric recommendation algorithm kind of thing. It has like a direct like people who watch this kind of thing with like a proportional sort of. I think that could potentially be okay because that is to the service of the user, and that could be done in a way that doesn't have any algorithm to it. It could be made pretty transparent, in my opinion. Yeah, yeah, it did, Demon Mama, and that's definitely a huge issue. Though I don't think that was deliberate malice. Can you Tempest? Okay, I just couldn't. I'm just stupid then, Tempest. I'm just a dum dum. I'll look later. Is it still around 50-50, Tempest? Isn't that already what the recommendation systems basically are? No, no, no. That's what we're reading. The social media sites will tell you, hey, this is like the content you're looking for, but they're lying. They just it's all like a back-ended incentive payment structure that they use to pull in new merchants, new content creators, and sell like priority ad feed stuff, you know? 1/3 of the revenue last month was YouTube Premium. Okay, 1/3. Yeah, it's a pretty significant chunk, you know? Well, then it wouldn't be a recommendation, Kimmy said. Then it would be a choice. Anyway. But TikTok is not in the business of giving away giant teddy bears. TikTok, for all that its origins are in the quasi-capitalist Chinese economy, is just another paperclip maximizing artificial colony organism that treats human beings as inconvenient gut flora. TikTok is only going to funnel free attention to the people it wants to entrap until they are entrapped. Then it will withdraw that attention and begin to monetize it. Monetize is a terrible word that tacitly admits there is no such thing as an attention economy. You can't use attention as a medium of exchange. You can't use it as a store of value. You can't use it as a unit of account. Attention is like cryptocurrency, a worthless token that is only valuable to the extent that you can trick or coerce someone into parting with fiat currency in exchange for it. You have to monetize it. That is, you have to exchange the fake money for real money. Yeah, Tempest. In the case of cryptos, the main monetization strategy was deception-based. Exchanges and projects handed out a bunch of giant teddy bears, creating an army of true believer Judas goats who convinced their peers to hand the carny their money and try to get some balls in the peach basket themselves. But deception only produces so much liquidity provision. Eventually, you run out of suckers. To get lots of people to try the ball toss, you need coercion, not persuasion. Think of how U.S. companies ended the defined benefits pension that guaranteed you a dignified retirement, replacing it with market-based 401k pensions that forced you to gamble your savings in a rigged casino, making you a sucker at the table ripe for the picking. Early crypto liquidity came from ransomware. The existence of a pool of desperate, panicked companies and individuals whose data had been stolen by criminals created a baseline of crypto liquidity because they could only get their data back by trading real money for fake crypto money. The next phase of crypto coercion was Web 3. Oh, thank you, White. Jesus. White's so fast. Converting the web into a series of toll booths you could only pass through by trading real money for fake crypto money. The internet is a must-have, not a nice-to-have, a prerequisite for full participation in employment, education, family life, health, politics, civics, even romance. By holding all those things to ransom behind crypto toll booths, the holders hope to convert their tokens to real money. For TikTok, handing out free teddy bears by heating the videos. I really like how they wrote this. Oh, this is brilliantly written. I'm going to follow this person on Twitter if I remember to. Handing out free teddy bears by heating the videos posted by skeptical performers and media companies is a way to convert them to true believers, getting them to push all their chips into the middle of the table, abandoning their efforts to build audiences on other platforms. It helps that TikTok's format is distinctive, making it hard to repurpose videos for TikTok to circulate on rival platforms. This, by the way, is one of the reasons why YouTube put out YouTube Shorts, because having video formats that could be repurposed between TikTok and YouTube Shorts incentivized creators to do both at the same time rather than move over to TikTok. Same with Insta Reels. Yep. Once those performers and media companies are hooked, the next phase will begin. TikTok will withdraw the heating that sticks their videos in front of people who never heard of them and haven't asked to see their videos. TikTok is performing a delicate dance here. There's only so much enshittification they can visit upon their users' feeds, and TikTok has lots of other performers they want to give giant teddy bears to. TikTok won't just starve performers of the free attention by depreferencing them in the algorithm. It'll actively punish them by failing to deliver their videos to users who subscribe to them. They did this to YouTube, by the way. With YouTube, they made it so that you no longer see videos from people you're subscribed to in your subscription feed, which is indefensible, and there were people defending it for some reason. A subscription feed is not supposed to be an algorithm. It is literally just a chronological list of every video published by every person you're subscribed to. If that means you get 200 videos a day, then that's it. That's not costing YouTube anything to have a list that has all of your videos that you're subscribed to run up there. This is one of the reasons why I use a YouTube add-on. I use a third-party add-on called what I think Pocket Tube that allowed me to create something that should have existed to begin with, which is a no bullshit subscription fee. Not subscription fee. Subscriber feed that I could cultivate and add or remove people from at my leisure. So I can, like, for instance, I can subscribe to, like, David Pakman and Sam Cedar's Majority Report, even though they publish 47 videos a day. So I don't want it clogging up the videos that I do want to watch right away. Yeah, I think it's called PocketTube. But, like, like, the fact that I have to go to a third-party system to find that is disgusting. Like, seriously. It's the simplest thing in the world. It's literally a chronological listing. Doesn't that exist in the side tab? Are you guys listening? No. As I said, YouTube has made it so that they're no longer showing reliably all videos from everyone you subscribe to in the subscriptions feed. That is your normal feed, not your subscription feed. I know! Radically moderate! Don't you think I know what this is? Wait, do you guys not know about the thing about subscribers not seeing the video of the people they... Do you think I don't know what the subscription tab is? I'm a YouTuber. There was a whole thing. Hold on. There's like a whole thing of people saying they don't see all the videos in the subscription feed. Like, it's been a whole thing. There have been like arcs of YouTube anger. I've had it happen to me. Involved the bell, didn't it? Yeah, the bell thing. So the bell is like another example of the, I guess, the enshittification of the system, where rather than like if you subscribe to if you subscribe to somebody, why would you then need to ring a bell in order to In order to what? More subscribe to them? Like, what does that mean? So you always get notifications for it? Why wouldn't you by default get the normal? Like, yeah, the bell doesn't even reliably do anything. Super subscribe. The bell was originally to enable push notifications, but that's not even all it does or what it does. It also had some like obscure nebulous like algorithm fuckery, and it doesn't even like do that anymore. It's like, this is what I mean. Normies don't pay attention to the problems of creators. Yeah. Okay. Anyway. Also, make sure to ring the bell if you're watching right now. Thank you. After all, every time TikTok shows you a video you asked to see, it loses a chance to show you a video it wants you to see because your attention is a giant teddy bear it can give away to a performer it is wooing. This is just what Twitter has done as part of its march to enshittification. Thanks to its monetization changes, the majority of people who follow you will never see the things you post. I have around 500,000 followers on Twitter, and my threads used to routinely get hundreds of thousands or even millions of reads. Today it's hundreds, perhaps thousands. Oh shit, mad. I just handed Twitter $8 for Twitter Blue. Mad. Because the company has strongly implied that it will only show the things I post to the people who ask them to see them if I pay ransom money. This is the latest battle in one of the internet's longest simmering wars, the fight over end-to-end. In the beginning, there were bellheads and netheads. The bellheads worked for big telcos. They believed that all the value of the network rightly belonged to the carrier. If someone invented a new feature, say caller ID, oh, this is another thing that should be illegal. Have you seen how many people are like, man, I don't want to give Elon money, but I kind of rely on Twitter intention for my business, like OnlyFans girls or whatever. So like, I guess I have to buy Blue because how else will I get the attention or like whatever? Like, it's literally my job. But does Twitter Blue actually like prioritize your posts? As far as I can tell, no. The only thing getting Twitter Blue actually seems to do is that you'll appear at the top of replies underneath other people's posts, which now guarantees that the entire site's reply feeds are filled with cards at the very top. But it's a holdup. It's a holdup. They're pointing a gun at you, you know? Hey, we had a workable social media site, but now you have to give us money for some like nebulous, undefinable benefit that may or may not make the difference in you being able to pay rent. We had a system that worked for years and years and years and years and years. And hey, look at this. Believe that all the value in the network rightly belonged to the carrier. If someone invented a new feature, say caller ID, it should only be rolled out in a way that allows the carrier to charge you every month for its use. This is software as a service, Mabel style. The netheads, by contrast, believe the value should move to the edges of the network, spread out, pluralized. In theory, CompuServe could have monetized its own version of caller ID by making you pay $3 extra to see the from line on email before you open the message, charging you to know who was speaking to you before you started listening, but they didn't. The netheads wanted to build diverse networks with lots of competition, and easy low-cost switching between competitors, thanks to interoperability. Some wanted this because they believed the net would someday be woven into the world, and they didn't want to live in a world of rent-seeking landlords. Others were true believers in market competition as a source of innovation. Some believed both things. Either way, they saw the risk of network capture, the drive to monetization through trickery and coercion, and they wanted to head it off. They conceived of the end-to-end principle, the idea that networks should be designed so the willing speaker's messages would be delivered to willing listeners' endpoints as quickly and reliably as they could be. That is, irrespective of whether a network operator could make money by sending you the data it wanted to receive, its duty would be to provide you with the data you wanted to see. The end-to-end principle is dead at the service level today. Useful idiots on the right were tricked into thinking the risk of Twitter mismanagement was woke shadow banning, whereby the things you said wouldn't reach the people who asked to hear them because Twitter's deep state didn't like your opinions. The real risk, of course, is that the things you say won't reach the people who asked to hear them because Twitter can make more money by enshittifying their feeds and charging you ransom for the privilege to be included in them. As I said at the start of this essay, enshittification exerts a nearly irresistible gravity on platform capitalism. It's just too easy to turn the enshittification dial up to 11. Twitter was able to fire the majority of its skilled staff and still crank the dial all the way over, even with a skeleton crew of desperate, demoralized H-1B workers who are shackled to Twitter's sinking ship by threat of deportation. The temptation to enshittify is magnified by the blocks in interoperability. When Twitter bans interoperable clients, nerfs its APIs, hey Reddit, and periodically terrorizes its users by suspending them for including their Mastodon handles in their bios, it makes it harder to leave Twitter, and thus increases the amount of enshittification users can be force-fed without risking their departure. Twitter's not going to be a protocol. I'll bet you a left testicle, not one of mine, that projects like Blue Sky will find no meaningful purchase on the platform. That's true. Because if Blue Sky were implemented and Twitter users could order their feeds for minimal enshittification and leave the service without sacrificing their social networks, it would kill the majority of Twitter's monetization strategies. An enshittification strategy only succeeds if it is pursued in measured amounts. Even the most locked-in user eventually reaches a breaking point and walks away or gets pushed. The villagers of Anativka in Fiddler of the Roof tolerated the Cossacks' violent raids and pogroms for years until they were finally forced to Krakow, New York, and Chicago. All right, this person huffs their own farts a little bit, I have to say, but I still like the overall analysis. For enshittification-addled companies, that balance is hard to strike. Individual product managers, executives, and activist shareholders all give preference to quick returns at the cost of sustainability, and are in a race to see who can eat their seed corn first. Enshittification has only lasted for as long as it is because the internet has devolved into 5 giant websites, each filled with screenshots of the other 4. True! Literally, though. With the market sewn up by a group of cozy monopolists, better alternatives don't pop up and lure us away. And if they do, the monopolists just buy them out and integrate them into your enshittification strategies. Like when Mark Zuckerberg noticed a mass exodus of Facebook users who were switching to Instagram, and so he bought Instagram. As Zuck says, it's better to buy than compete. This is the hidden dynamic behind the rise and fall of Amazon Smile, the program where Amazon gave a small amount of money to charities of your choice when you shop there, but only if you used Amazon's own search tool to locate the products you purchased. This provided an incentive for Amazon customers to use its own increasingly enshittified search, which it could cram full of products from sellers who coughed up payola, as well as its own lookalike products. The alternative was to use Google, whose search tool would send you directly to the product you were looking for, and then charge Amazon a commission for sending it to you. That's not even true anymore. Google is terrible now. If you Google anything from a product to a question, Google is useless. It doesn't work anymore. The only way to get any answer to a tech question is to search like question like Reddit or something. Not to mention there are all these like AI written websites that are designed to reach the top of the Google search algorithm anytime. I notice this whenever I search anything for games. Like, it's probably not going to happen now that I'm doing it on stream, but if you look up anything for video games, best Zelda weapons, okay? So first you have up top, Google will, using AI, compile a random list of items that does not in any way like relate. Like, okay, so the boulder breaker is the second best, and then it just looks for weapons and then puts it there. Phenomenal. It's a bunch of nonsense. And then you get all of the like AI written articles up here at the top who pay to be at the top of the list. Polygon, Nintendo Life, and Game Rant. These articles are invariably written by bots or with very little human involvement. The writing has nothing to it. Like, look at this. The Royal Broadsword. The royal set of weapons is the highest level set of weapons wielded by both silver and gold variants of enemies in the open world. These weapons look pretty cool and are extremely powerful to boot. The Royal Broadsword is one such two-handed weapon that can send enemies flying with ease. It might take a while before players get their hands on this weapon, but the wait is more than worth it. This was written by a bot or by a human whose brain is a bot. And then below, oh shit, I didn't mean to close that. Best Zelda weapons. And then below that, below the AI bot articles, they're all like that, by the way. There's Nintendo bot. It's the exact same thing, by the way. It's the same. These bows also have good durability. In terms of starter bows, the construct offering has decent power, especially when you fuse materials to your arrow. Like, and then below that, you have the video recommendations. And because Google owns YouTube, they're able to, like, the algorithm here is, like, co-referencing both websites. And, of course, naturally, the things you see here are, like, the most clickbait, like, inhuman. And then you have the People Always Ask section. What is the strongest weapon in Zelda? Are there any unbreakable weapons in Breath of the Wild? What is the rarest weapon? Now, the fun thing about these, of course, is that if you click on any of them, it asks more questions underneath. meaning that if you're desperately trying to get an answer, you keep clicking, and then you realize that you're looking at questions that no longer even remotely relate to the initial thing that you asked. Now it's, what is the easiest Zelda game? What is the rarest food? What is the weakest Link Zelda? What is scariest Zelda enemy? Always framed in a deliberately clickbait fashion that link questions to keywords to try to get you looking at more clickbait AI written articles. Which Triforce is the strongest? Well, I guess the Triforce of Power, right? There's a Wikipedia article. Weirdest Zelda boss. There's a Screen Rant article. Is there a Dark Triforce? Oh, there's a ZeldaDungeon.net link to the Dark Triforce. It's never ending. Has Link ever had the full Triforce? Apparently, yes, in Skyward Sword. I never played it. You can never leave. Oh, and then we reach the bottom, which has, whoa, more AI written articles from companies that pay to have themselves thrown to the top of the search recommendation algorithm. Now, let me add one word. Best Zelda weapons, Reddit. Holy shit! Now we're looking at forums of people who actually care about the subject, asking each other and answering sincerely. Oh, well, Breath of the Wild is private right now because of the whole thing that we're talking about ostensibly in this segment that's gone on for too long. But yeah, if you ever want an answer to anything, look up Reddit, because Reddit is the last vestige we have of the old internet. Before everything got controlled by like 4 companies where everyone screenshots the other. Look, these answers right here were written and answered by humans. And oftentimes you'll find way more work here than you ever would. Right. In any, like, you know what I mean. Why hasn't Reddit just been bought yet? They're going public later this year. You understand what I'm talking about, right? The demise of Amazon Smile coincides with the increasing enshittification of Google Search, the only successful product the company managed to build in-house. I don't even agree with this anymore. All its other successes were bought from other companies, video, docs, cloud, ads, mobile, while its own products are either flops like Google Video, clones, Gmail is a Hotmail clone, or adapted from other companies' products like Chrome. Google Search was based on principles set out in founder Larry Page and Sergey Brin's landmark 1998 paper, Anatomy of a Large-Scale Hypertextual Web Search Engine. Guys, I am old enough to remember. I cannot tell you how different Google Search used to be. You have no idea. The young ones here cannot fathom how different it was just 10 years ago. You cannot fathom how different it was. In which they wrote, advertising-funded search engines will be inherently biased towards the advertisers and away from the needs of consumers. Yep. Even with that foundational understanding of enshittification, Google has been unable to resist its siren song. Yes, today's Google search results are an increasingly useless morass of self-referencing links to its own products, ads for products that aren't good enough to float to the top of the list on their own, and parasitic SEO junk piggybacking on the former. Enshittification kills. Google just laid off 12,000 employees, and the company is in a full-blown panic over the rise of AI chatbots. It is making a full-court press for an AI-driven search tool. That is, a tool that won't show you what you ask for, but rather what it thinks you should see. Now, it's possible to imagine that such a tool will produce good recommendations, like TikTok's pre-enshittified algorithm did, but it's hard to see how Google will be able to design a non-enshittified chatbot front-end to search, given the strong incentives for product managers, executives, and shareholders to enshittify results to the precise threshold at which users are nearly pissed off enough to leave, but not quite. Even if it manages the trick, this almost but not quite unusable equilibrium is fragile. Any exogenous shock, a new competitor like TikTok that penetrates the anti-competitive moats and walls of big tech, a privacy scandal, a worker uprising, can send it into wild oscillations. Enshittification truly is how platforms die. That's fine, actually. We don't need eternal rulers of the internet. It's okay for new ideas and new ways of working to emerge. The emphasis of lawmakers and policymakers shouldn't be preserving the crepuscular senescence, oh, I can smell the farts from here, of dying platforms. Rather, ameliorate. Rather, our policy focus should be on minimizing the cost to users when these firms reach their expiry date. Enshrining rights like end-to-end would mean that no matter how auto-cannibalistic a zombie platform became, willing speakers and willing listeners would still connect with each other. They're just like you for real? No, no, no. In writing, I don't do that. In writing, I don't do that. I talk like that because I'm an idiot. In writing, I try to write how I talk, but I write the way I wish I would talk, and that would be without saying ameliorate, ameliorate, ameliorate. I have never written, I am admittedly beset by tiredness. And policymakers should focus on freedom of exit, the right to leave a sinking platform while continuing to stay connected to the communities you left behind, enjoying the media and apps you bought, and preserving the data you created. The netheads were right. Technological self-determination is at odds with the natural imperatives of tech businesses. They make more money when they take away our freedom to speak, to leave, and to connect. For many years, even TikTok's critics grudgingly admitted no matter how surveillant and creepy it was really good at guessing what you wanted to see. But TikTok couldn't resist the temptation to show you the things it wants you to see, rather than what you want to see. The enshittification has begun, and now it is unlikely to stop. It's too late to save TikTok. Now that it has been infected by enshittification, the only thing left is to kill it with fire. That was a pretty damn good article. It was only tangentially related to the Reddit stuff, I think, but it all fits together in the same general pattern, and I'm happy that we gave it a look. To give you like a final look at what I'm talking about when it comes to algorithm recommendations, you know? Just a final look, okay? We're going to look at my recommended YouTube videos. This should be fun and not at all revealing. So this is my raw subscription feed. It's not the subscription feed that I actually use because I follow a lot of politics people and I don't actually watch political content on my own time, with very few exceptions. I like watching video essays, gameplay videos. I like having fun with it, but I try not to, you know. So as you can see, there's like 100 videos from the past 24 hours right here. Not 100. What is this? 6 times 3, 4, 5. That's 30. 33. 33 videos in a day. This is from the subscriptions feed. Yeah, I'm also like subscribed to the Vaush pit, right? And Thermia. So it's like, you know. So we can see what's here in my subscription feed. What do I get recommended? So here's my YouTube page. Let's take a look. YouTube lately has been trying to recommend small creators to the top of my recommendation feed. So I'll have a lot of popular videos, and then I'll have a like a video with basically no views. I kind of like that. As recommendation algorithms go, I think that's quite sweet. If they're going to like randomly throw me something, I think it should be from a smaller creator. I think that's sweet. So we have me. It always shows me my own stream when I'm streaming, which is nice because sometimes I forget to end stream. You know, and then I go on YouTube and I see I have like 2,000 people watching a dead screen. I'm like, oh, okay. This has happened multiple times. So that's good. I'm happy with that. I will say one thing that I don't like about the recommendation of the smaller channel is that small channels generally don't have the same production quality as larger channels, meaning that sometimes I'll see a thumbnail and title that look nice. I won't look at the views. I'll click on it and I'll be watching like a scuffed, like low quality live stream clip or video. And that's not bad. I think that's nice, but I do think it's kind of unfortunate that my expectations are set up in what will be a negative way. So like if I was thinking, oh sure, I'll take a look at this small video, then and if it turned out to be kind of scuffed, it would be like, oh, of course, well, it's from a small creator. But it's right next to Small Ant, who has incredibly high production values. So if I'm like, oh, here's a video, watch this. Here's a video, watch this. By being put in the same category, it makes me feel like maybe I would kind of prefer like a category right down here that says something along the lines of smaller creators you might like. Wouldn't that be nice? I think that'd be nice, personally. And then it would just throw you like random videos that are kind of related to what you've seen that have like 100 views or something. I think that'd be nice. That way I would look at it and I would know and I wouldn't have like an expectation that wouldn't be met. Maybe people wouldn't use it that much, but I don't know. I'm just a suggestion, mild suggestion, not a big deal. Anyway, this is the pocketbook recommendation right here that contains just people that I subscribe to and put in there. Then we have YouTube Shorts. Now, for some reason, YouTube Shorts has never stopped recommending me gun videos. I don't care. I don't care about gun YouTube. It's not my thing. That's Kurzgesagt. This is a smaller one about an indie game. This is Small Ant. This is Panenkoek, I'm guessing, just based on how it looks. It's Panenkoek, right? I'm almost positive it's got to be.
On the US version of Super Mario 64.
Yes, Panenkoek's based, by the way. And now we get more into, like, the algorithm, right? Because the further down you scroll, the more the algorithm has control. I subscribe to Tom Scott. I subscribe to Stuart Hicks. I don't know what the Lion's Share gaming channel is, but I watch some stuff on Tears of the Kingdom, so it's not surprising that it's there. Recommended primetime movies. Okay, so here we're dispelling with any impression that this is like a recommendation algorithm, right? This is literally just, hey, have you considered buying things from us? So, you know, that's not... Also, what is it suggesting here? Pop star never stop, never stopping? Dragon Ball Super Superhero? Okay. Then we go further down, and I subscribe to Lonerbox, except I've watched this video. I don't know why it's showing me this video with no watch line when I've watched this video. I've watched Skill Up. Here's another smaller creator, though they're playing an anime game, so I will not give them the time of day. Then we have Top News, which just seems to collate popular videos from, like, news-affiliated, like, channels and throw it out there, you know? That's something. And we get further down. Mark Rober. Okay. I think I saw the Glitter Bomb 5.0 video in my feed, you know, a little while ago, so I guess maybe they're going to give it a try with the 4.0. There's Dylan Burns, of course, who I subscribe to. The System Shock remake review. I've been having a lot of fun playing this game. Gotta say, a little bit weird that I'm seeing it here, considering the fact that I don't think I've searched anything on the System Shock review on YouTube. So, okay. Last Week Tonight, who I subscribe to, of course. Perun, who I've watched one video of. Vati Video, who I subscribe to, of course. A YouTube mix. Does anyone else like these? I like these, actually. I have a really bad, like, ear for music. So, sometimes, like, I'll go there and be reminded of other songs that I've listened to, and I just kind of like that, you know? I mostly just click through it, hear a couple of things. It's fine by me. How fast can you touch grass in every Mario game? I don't know why. This is here. Watch this video. Alternate History Hub, Thermia. You know, I'm gonna say, I actually think that this isn't that bad. I think most of the stuff that I'm looking at here in the recommendation feed is from people that I subscribe to, or from people whose videos I've watched before. There are a couple of, like, odd ones out here that I'm not as convinced by, but for the most part, I really don't think it's that bad. If you compare this to TikTok or even Twitter these days, the difference is stark. I think that YouTube has this issue. I don't think that YouTube has this issue anywhere near as much as other social media sites. But I do think, if nothing else, it's valuable to think critically about, like, why you're being recommended the things you're being recommended. You know what I mean? But the odd ones out are the algorithm trying to let you branch out into other topics or creators. And that's the thing. If there is any recommendation that I am okay with, if there's any kind of system that I'm all right with, it's either A, here are other videos from this person whose videos you've watched. That's fine. That makes sense to me. Or B, here are videos from new creators who have a massive overlap in viewership from stuff you've already seen. I'm okay with both of those, and I would like those to be presented transparently. And YouTube, for the most part, does this. But does TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or Twitter? Obviously not. And we know that if we use these sites, there's a huge difference in the way they present their For You content. Anyway, look, the internet's going down a bad direction, and I don't know. I don't know. I really hope that Reddit makes it through this, because as much as people joke about Reddit, there are things to Reddit that are unique and irreplaceable in this modern age of, like, highly centralized social media. And it would be a real shame to see that burn out and die.